Hey guys, this is Jonathan McCormack. I'm an attachment specialist, and you can find me at attachmenthealinghelp.com. And this is going to be about love, attachment, and the brain. This is on Sue Johnson's work, Love Sense. And the main thing about love and the brain is to know that emotional interaction, all emotional interaction, advances brain development. And the lack of emotional interaction reverses it, does the opposite. When you're not emotionally interacting with people, real emotionally, dendrites don't branch out. The tendrils that relay the signals become stunted. They curl up, there's fewer. And even the chemicals become short in supply. We've done experiments with monkeys, and when we isolate them from their mothers, these monkeys show gross deficits in multiple areas of the brain, most notably in those areas that process emotions. And those monkeys have, well, the stereotypical behavior, repetitive rocking back and forth, banging their head against the wall, contracting more illnesses, and humans who are isolated are the exact same. Humans will have attention problems, cognitive, and language difficulties. And all this affects our ability to bond, to form social groups. There's a great psychologist, Luis Casalano at Pepperdine, and he actually says, without these stimulating interactions, neurons wither and die. And people do too. In neurons, we call this apoptosis, and in humans, we call this depression, anaphylactic depression. Babies learn how to get their mother's attention. They learn. They make expressions. They have certain movements. And when that mother mistakes what the child's trying to convey, all of a sudden there's misattunement. That's actually fine because it's a process. There's the child trying to attune, and maybe the mother's not sure. There's some misattunement, then there's reattunement, and then they're on the same level. And these children learn to attend to the mother's signals. They focus on her face. It's the gaze of the mother. It's all in the face. And if you look at it, children will stare at the face longer and longer times. And children who are not well socialized, you notice, will often have difficulty making eye contact. And if you don't make eye contact, you're probably not going to be very tuned to what the other person is doing and saying. Now, all those interactions that we learn help us to emotionally regulate, because we get our first glimmerings of how others see us. And how others see us affects how we formulate our sense of self. If you're lucky and your caregivers express delight in your being, you're going to think, boy, I'm pretty delightful. And that's the pattern your mind will expect to get from people from now on. I'm naturally a delightful person. And when I meet people, they'll be delighted by me. You naturally expect people to respond with you with care. You naturally expect people to value you. And this expectation will lead you to how well you're going to be able to regulate your negative emotions, especially fear. Even a mother rat just licking its children, those baby rats will be able to regulate their fear. They'll feel much less fear in situations, having had been cared already. That these highly nurtured rats will stay composed even when tightly restrained, even when stressed. So there are people out there who haven't had that, and they get very stressed very easily, and people sometimes even look down on them. Boy, you're just going in for a simple operation. Why are you so worried? Boy, this little thing has you all out of sorts. What's the problem? And people beat themselves up. Oh, boy. And perhaps you've been like this. The parents will say things like, you are too sensitive. And the truth is, these people beat themselves up. I should be able to handle my stress better. I should be able to be more emotionally regulated. And the truth is, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You cannot have been differently. These are physiological reactions. They have nothing to do with you. You've probably heard in evolution, survival of the fittest. Well, what the fittest means is very different from what we thought it meant 100, 150 years ago. Usually, naturally, you think survival of the fittest. Well, that's the survival of the most aggressive. But if you go today at psychological conferences, you will not hear it. Instead, you'll be hearing survival of the most nurtured. The most nurtured animals will survive the best. In fact, we've discovered that developed nurturing can overcome even the influence of genetic inheritance. It can even reverse genetic inheritance. And that applies at every single step of the evolutionary ladder. For example, the experience of being held and groomed in monkeys actually switch off genes that make the brain sensitive to stress hormones. If that wasn't enough, just being groomed and held then also switch on genes that start calming mechanisms. Now, if you haven't had this, not only will you be more sensitive to stress, but you also will be less likely to be able to be calmed. And people might look at you and judge and not understand. But their brains don't work like that. And they would feel just as stressed had they been in your circumstances. And that's why the greatest gift a parent can give to the child is the same greatest gift a lover can give to a lover, and that's being emotionally attuned, giving their attention and their responsiveness. You probably heard of oxytocin. It's called the cuddle hormone or the molecule of monogamy. Both sexes, male and female, have oxytocin. But in general, it's much higher in females. Males, on the other side, have oxytocin, but they have another bonding hormone in higher, both do, but they have a vasopressin. And vasopressin gives the same kind of linking affect as oxytocin, but it can also stimulate more aggressive behavior, And in fact, just thinking about your loved one will produce and trigger a rush of oxytocin. And this is why I do something called Ideal Parent Figure Protocol. And children, to feel calmed, young children, like 2 years old, need the parent in the room. An adult doesn't. An adult just thinking about their ideal parent, their beloved, can calm themselves down. And oxytocin is that chemical that happens just, not sex, just sleeping side by side, two bodies together. You will naturally produce oxytocin. Snuggling. Women often tell me they like to spend time with their guy, with their lover. Just time. Just together at a restaurant. Just together watching a movie. Men are a bit different, and oftentimes in a relationship, it'll go a little stale, and the woman and man won't feel bonded, and they'll be thinking, how can we get this? And the male especially. And what needs to happen is to introduce vasopressin. Vasopressin is really the bonding molecule that's more responsible for men grouping together, like in the army, men's tribes grouping, that kind of bonding. How does that happen? Not spending time together, not merely just in each other's presence, sleeping in the barracks. It's from doing activities together, you know. And a lot of women don't understand that naturally, and men don't understand women, So in that type of relationship, I would tell the woman, well, maybe why don't you do things with him, activities, so the man can feel some of that vasopressin bonding. For example, I'm gonna go with my buddy, and we'll go, I don't know, whatever, play sports for whatever, for a couple hours, whatever, golf or whatever, and come back, and my girl will be like, oh, how's Ted? I'm like, yeah, he's doing all right. How's he handling the divorce? Well, I don't know. I didn't ask him. What? You're with Ted for 8 hours. What the hell did you talk about? We really didn't talk about anything. We golfed. We were together, golfing. We don't need to talk. We're not talking. It's vasopressin bonding. We are doing something together. We are working on the car together. We are fixing something together. Men are doing things together, getting that vasopressin. Men won't get that if you're just sitting on the couch, if you're just eating dinner. And they need that. They do need that. That has to be part of a relationship, actually doing things together. So both are important, But of course, we're talking about love. And love really has more to do with oxytocin. People who, interesting, they'll have people and they'll ask them, this statement, do you agree or disagree with it? And they'll ask, when something goes wrong, which of these is true? I would like to distract myself and take care of this by myself. Or do you think I would like to share with someone and look for support? People who say the first statement will get an injection of oxytocin and then agree with the second statement afterwards. Low oxytocin, I'll do this myself. High oxytocin, no, I'm expansive. I want to share this. I want to get support. And that shift in secure responses is particularly noticeable in anxiously attached men. And this is because oxytocin turns off our threat detector, the amygdala, as well as the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. This is the get up for a challenge part of the brain, part of the nervous system, And oxytocin kind of turns on the calming, hey, relax, everything's cool, everything's fine, parasympathetic nervous system. And so men who are very anxious are seeing threats, his lover might say, I'm going to turn in tonight. I'm really tired. And it's a threat. What? You don't want to spend time with me? You don't want to watch this TV program with me? He's lacking oxytocin, for whatever reason. His brain probably didn't produce it for a number of reasons, really. And the effect of oxytocin actually reduces fear and anxiety, and it lowers the production of stress hormones. And this is why a lot of people who are together in relationships don't understand the struggle of the single, because the single people will have much higher anxiety, they'll respond more strongly to stress, and the married couples will be like, oh, what's the problem? Why are you so stressed out? Why are you so anxious all the time? Well, it's because either they're single or they're in insecure relationships where they don't have that oxytocin to relax them. The other interesting thing is, you probably know there's this stereotype that women are more trusting, like, oh yeah, sure, invite all the strangers into my house and come on in and da-da-da-da. And the men are, oh no, they're more guarding. And there's a reason for that. In one experiment, both men and women rated strangers as more trustworthy and attractive after a dose of oxytocin. You know this. The guy in love, the girl in love, when they first fall in love, oh, the world's beautiful. Everyone's a friend. Everything's good. You know, like kind of living in that fantasy land. And they're not aware of threats. So that might not be a good thing all the time. And the person with very low oxytocin will just view everyone as a threat, even someone neutral. No, I must keep everyone away from me. You know, that's all from oxytocin. And the phrase falling in love is accurate. Falling. It's a risk. It's a dance of reassurance, you know. And oxytocin is that thing that prompts you to take chances. Because it's at risk. And the reward is contentment where you find reassurance in your partner's arms, you know. Mutual vulnerability and recovery with our lover. That is what is accompanied by oxytocin release, you know. This is first by John Bowlby, the father of attachment theory. You know, his claim was that the bond of love is a safety and survival mechanism, you know. And when this is Bowlby, is absolutely right on this, when the main roles in love is to make life less terrifying, you know. Another reason, when you have no friends, few supports, no lover, life is terrifying. It is. What's going to happen to me? And boy, if you don't have a stable job, money in the bank, and all these supports, now you're really insecure. And life, but even with those things, if you have no love, life is just a barren place of thorns. There's dangers and threats everywhere. Because that's the truth, you know. It's very difficult to live alone, completely alone, without being able to pick up the phone if your car breaks down, if you get sick. I know people that are stone cold individualists who don't need anyone until they get very sick. And then they're home and have no one to help them. And all of a sudden they get that longing, you know. So it's a survival mechanism. But as all survival processes, there is indeed a feedback loop, you know. Oxytocin spawns trust. Trust generates closeness. Closeness leads to sex. Sex leads to orgasm. Orgasm stimulates oxytocin. And it goes around and around, you know. Interestingly, actually there's a recent research at Duke University that showed that rat pups who were frequently just touched by their mother were able to suppress their craving for morphine, you know. And indeed, bonding in monogamous prairie voles appears to decrease the rewarding effect of amphetamines. And there's a theory, someone wrote a book, I think it's Chasing the Scream, about how addiction was mainly an attachment problem because, fascinatingly, you know, they give these people on morphine for weeks at a time, and then they'd have to take them off. Half the people would have terrible withdrawal symptoms. They'd be throwing up, they'd be shaking. Half the people experienced nothing. How can that be? Because half the people had strong, secure bonds. And so they didn't experience withdrawal symptoms. They already had chemicals like endorphins and oxytocin. The other people didn't. You know, when they did the studies and they realized these people have no friends, they have no one. And that it caused them to have the withdrawal symptoms, you know. So we're really not wired to be individuals. I know we think we are, but biologically we're wired and designed to be connected to one another. And indeed, if you read a lot of neurology papers today, the brain really isn't even thought of as an individual unit. It's called a social organ. The pancreas is my organ. The heart's my organ. The brain is more of a social organ, you know. And you see this a lot. I mean, just for an example, I remember, for one example, for instance, there could be, well, I remember there was one guy I knew, and he had trouble connecting with people. He had trouble empathizing with people. one of the things, when you're deep in love, for example, you actually hurt for another person. That's very accurate because you're almost going into a kind of withdrawal. You know, it's a little like a drug withdrawal. You know, because when you're in love with someone, there's that empathy, the two-way empathy. You see me, or you imagine me, and the other person experiences a strong feeling, and you two mirror your response. If it's love, you're mirroring love. If it's disgust, you start to mirror disgust, you know? For example, and we've seen this, you know, lovers will start using the same words. They'll smile in the same way. They'll pick up various mannerisms. And you can literally see this. Go to any party, and you'll see people talking, and all of a sudden they'll be sitting like each other. They'll be mirroring each other, and they'll be imitating each other. And this imitation communicates to show how we feel for them. And that kind of creates an instant connection, you know. And people who imitate each other usually have a strong emotional rapport with each other, you know. In studies on forgiveness, and Sue Johnson has a lot, nearly every injured partner says the same version of, I can't forgive my lover. I can't. Until he or she sees, until I need to see that you felt my pain. I need to know that you really understood the hurt, you know? Not in an intellectual, abstract way. I need to somehow see the pain you've caused, to empathize, until you know that hurt, until you know it. Also, your forgiveness just doesn't mean anything to me. There has to be that empathetic connection first. And if there's not, you can sit there and try to forgive the other person. But until you truly believe, truly see that the person gets it, is attuned to you in such a way that they can really understand that forgiveness will not really stick, you know. You know, one good practice you can do is kind of pretending you are the other person, you know, your partner. I mean, really, close your eyes, imagine you're in their body, imagine them seeing you, imagine their responses, you know, and then kind of come back to yourself and kind of just take note. You know, take note. You could do that with your partner. Both of you could do that with each other, you know. The other thing that love helps is, of course, with depression, stress hormones, cortisol, that actually has been shown to impede brain growth and even damage the social and emotional centers. Abuse early in life tends to shrink the hippocampus. That's the area of the brain that deals with ordering experiences into coherent emotional memories. That's important because in the attachment work I do, we do a lot of narrating. So I might ask an avoidant, oh boy, your father used to, hit you. What do you make of that? Why do you think he did that? I don't know. Probably angry. Well, that's really not a very good explanation. I might ask an anxious person, well, your father used to hit you. Why do you think that is? Ooh, and they'll give me a big rambling story. They'll go on and on and on. And that actually really wouldn't even make much sense. They weren't able to order these emotional experiences into a coherent narrative that fits into their life. And so part of the work is me just asking, me clarifying, me getting them to clarify, to really see those emotions more and more and more until we have a coherent narrative. You know. Now, interestingly, if you're depressed, if you've had abuse, the brain actually becomes, ironically, more sensitive to emotional stressors, such as separation anxiety. At the same time, it has a less developed neural network for containing such anxiety. It hits you from both sides. And this is why I do like to bang on this brain stuff, because so many people are like, I'm defective. Here's the thing. You're not your brain structure. You're not your story you tell yourself. You're not your anxious attachment. You're avoiding it. These are patterns. These are not you. And you could not have been different. You could not have been. It's not your fault. It's not your fault, Get rid of that blame. Just get rid of it. Now there is another reason. In fact, the most common reason that these types of things happen in the brain: distraction. In other words, there's some preoccupying emotion, such as the overwhelming fear of upsetting someone, of losing a partner, that blocks your ability to empathize, that blocks your ability to see their anguish, How could you? When, say your partner, say that part, the example I just used says, I'm going to go upstairs, I'm tired. And all of a sudden it flips in your brain, oh my God, there's something wrong. I upset her. She doesn't want to stay with me. Well, if you're preoccupied with that, if you're focusing your energy on calming yourself down, you won't bother to look at her face, attune into her, and sense maybe she is upset. Maybe she's just tired. Maybe she is sad. I don't know. But you won't know either. It's not your fault. You're dealing with all this anxiety, but you're preoccupied. So people have a lot of anxiety, have a hard time attuning to the other person, And this is very common. I work with a lot of men and women, but a lot of guys that can't deal with their wives being upset. They can't. They just cannot deal, especially a lot of anxious men, because they are terrified of losing her. And it could be the most minor thing. She could be a little upset over, the stupidest little thing. Not even that upset. Like, yeah, I'm a little. But, to him, But you practice. So if the guy can stay calm and focus not on himself, but on her face, see her face, resonate with her emotions, squirm in your chair, you can notice, she looks sad. Even though she's pissed and she's angry, I bet you there's a reason. It doesn't matter what it is. But you can notice she's hurt. She's sad. Meanwhile, that guy won't be able to, though, if he's sidetracked with panic, And he can ask, like, hey, man, what happens when you look into her face, And I'll say, like, man, all I know is she is angry with me. And all I want to do is stop it. I don't want to know what's the problem, I have this panic. Stop the anger. I'm panicked. I need to fix it. I'm just thinking of ways out. And what happens with a lot of people, anxious, but particularly avoidant, is like they see that they're angry, and they just go numb. They just freeze. Like a deer in the headlights almost. Just quiet down. Yeah. They can't even tolerate those feelings, let alone tune into them, So they deal with those emotions by shutting down. Shutting down does what? Automatically draws negative responses, right? So man, she comes, she's like, yeah, listen, you were late. You didn't even call me. I just shut down. She's shut down. Yeah, I was just busy and forgot to call you. Yeah. Well, how's she going to react to that? She's going to be very negative. Like, boy. Meanwhile, I shut down because I'm overwhelmed. But she perceives that I just don't care. What kind of response is that? And all of a sudden, it gets in this big negative loop. And I will say this, though. It always takes two. So if you're a single person, I don't care if you're anxious, avoidant, bipolar, this, that, you can have a relationship with the right person. With the right person. People always think, this relationship, was it my fault? Was it their fault? Who's responsible? It's the relationship's fault. The relationship causes it. Not you, not them, you and them together. That's what causes it. You really have to get that down, The other person's responses play a part, But imagine this now. She gets upset And I stay with my emotion. I stay with my emotion. And I'm just honest. I say, wow, I'm looking at you. I can tell you're sad. We're both scared. I can tell you're vulnerable. I can see in your eyes. I know it hurts. I just don't want to see you this way. I want to comfort you. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Well, that's a little better than me just shutting down. That's a little better than me being defensive. If I'm just honest, I have to say, when you get angry, I start to almost panic, and then I'm like, what can I do? And then I don't know what to do. But men have a hard time being honest and being that vulnerable, you know. The good news is the brain is plastic. It changes. Hard to change sometimes. But there's two events that naturally create a massive neural reorganization. One is falling in love, falling in love and bonding with that partner. Huge changes happen in the brain. And the other one is becoming a parent. And boy, I've known so many, that they become parents and they are like new human beings. Boy, I remember I used to know so many buddies from high school, the laziest people on the planet. I'd meet them 10 years later, and they'd be working 2 jobs and doing this and doing that. And what happened? You just grew responsibility. You seemed to mature overnight. What happened? You had a child. And they'll tell you, it changes everything. It changes everything, of course. And so does love, But those two events are very much heightened periods of plasticity where the brain rapidly adapts to new circumstances, And, I think it was William Burroughs, the beatnik who wrote Naked Lunch, who said, what is love? Love is the most powerful painkiller ever invented. And there's something to that, because even a simple kiss can bring a cascade of oxytocin and dopamine that just shuts down stress hormones, that brings down our heart rates, and that tunes our brain's ability to read others, to read a lover's face, for example. Now, this type of attunement, frankly, I believe it's best addressed in the bedroom, but not everyone's ready for that. But there's other ways. I'll just start with an exercise you can do. Some people have asked me for a couples exercise. This is kind of a cool one. So what you do is you and your lover, you get together, and you begin by just tuning into each other. Just tune into, just sense them out, their energy. Stand face to face, almost toe to toe, but not touching. And look at each other's chest. The rise and fall. Just and try to match the rise and fall with your lover. So your chest, try to match the rhythm. So both are now in rhythm. I will try to match her rhythm. I'll say her rhythm. Let's try whether she's breathing shallow or deep. I'll try. Okay. Once you're in sync, start over. And now she tries to match your breathing, because we each have a natural way of breathing. Now she tries to match you, just breathing. Right? And you can even try slowing down the rhythm. And you should do this about 3 times. Switch again. And then you add a new element. Try shifting weight from one foot to another while breathing in unison. I know this is silly, but you're still breathing in unison. And then one of you, she does it. Another foot, she does it. And the exact same lean, try to line up the amount, And you do that, Now, once this becomes fluid and easy, and you'll see at first it's kind of jerky, and then all of a sudden, you two are in sync. At that point, the taller person can begin to gently turn his or her shoulder to the right or to the left, back and center. Whichever one's taller, and the other person starts matching while breathing, while breathing, while breathing. And you turn your shoulders so far, keep doing it until you do it so far you start to lose your balance. This is where it comes in. Once you start to lose your balance, your partner's job is to start balancing you by shifting their shoulders and bringing you back into balance. So you go too far, they'll see it and they'll start banging back. Then you follow them back. Then they'll go very far, and then you'll bring them back. Yeah, and the follower's job is to repair the loss of balance, you know. And what you can do is you can even have touch their elbow to bring them back to balance. Then reach out, bring them back. Now go too far, reach out, bring it back. And you kind of switch that. You can do this about 5 times and switch up who leads it. Do 5 more times. The entire exercise lasts about 10 minutes. And one of the things about this type of work is it's always the simplest things that are most efficient. And this is one of those super efficient things to feel into the other person and become attuned that almost no one will do. But it's a great practice. Anyway, this on love, attachment, and the brain. I'll continue the series next time on the body. So thanks for listening.